What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a great day. Today we are going to be changing up all the fluids on the C5 Corvette, getting this thing ready for the autocross. I signed up. I am going to my first event in about a month, so I need to change the fluids out of this car. Like I said, it's been sitting for like 6 years, so I don't know when the last time these fluids have been changed. So I'm going to go ahead and flush out all the fluids. I'm not going to do the brake fluid today because I'm still waiting for my brake pads to get here. So once the brake pads get here, I'll go ahead and flush out the brake fluid as well. I'm going with some Moto 660 brake fluid, which I hear really good stuff about it. As far as the other fluids that we have here, I'm going with some Castrol synthetic high mileage oil for the car. I'm going with some some Royal Purple Max Gear for the differential. This already has the friction modifier added inside, so I don't have to add that. As far as the transmission goes, we are going to be adding the manual synchro mesh transmission fluid. Heard nothing but really great stuff about the AMSOIL stuff on these Corvettes. So also went with some C606 wheels on the car. Originally had the regular C6 wheels on here, and these actually look really nice. I bought this from a guy who had these refinished. Originally the color were this silver color here, and he had them refinished in this kind of like darker gunmetal gray, which actually looks really good on the pewter color on the car. I'll put it on the driveway here a little bit and show you guys when I get done and see what it looks like on the car. But these look really nice on the car. Only downfall is the fronts don't stick out that much. They have a little bit of a poke, but on the back I did have to add a 5mm spacer to these wheels because the inside of the tire was rubbing. So these tires are a little too wide, and I also had to raise the car up a little bit because it was rubbing on the fender here, as you can see on the tire. So I had to raise the car a little bit more to kind of keep it from rubbing on the tire. See from the sides there, it does have a little bit more poke than the front, but I can live with that. It looks really good outside. I get a lot of compliments the little time that I've had the car. But eventually I may go with wide body fenders or maybe even different wheels. So who knows, guys. These are just good for now. Better than the chrome ones that I had on before. Right now, go ahead and jack the car up and get ready to start flushing out the fluids. She's up in the air. I'm gonna go ahead and let's go ahead and start with the oil drain. I do have these, I have a large oil pan that I like to use for fluids here, which is right up here. This thing here is really handy. Big, huge drain bucket here. And then once I get done with that, I'll go ahead and just dump all the fluid into like a 5-gallon bucket with a lid, and that's how I take it to the auto parts store to have them go ahead and drain it. All right, trying to drain the oil. Let's see how nasty this stuff is. Like I said, this has been sitting since 20. Oh yeah. Alright, so as we wait for the rest of the oil to drain out of the oil pan, I do want to mention that before you go and put the brand new filter on your car or truck, you definitely want to make sure that this comes off with the original oil filter you just took off, or you're going to double gasket it and it's going to blow off the new filter. So you want to make sure that this seal definitely came off of the old one, or when you go to put the new one on, it's going to blow it right off. So you want to make sure that is off. Alright, so the oil has stopped draining out of the pan, but I jacked it back up a little bit more so it had a little bit more of a tilt to the front, and there's actually quite a bit more still draining out of the oil pan, as you can see. So yeah, there was still quite a bit left in the pan, but like I said, the pan, the drain plug is in the front, so it's a pretty big pan. So if you go to drain the oil pan on these Corvettes, you want to make sure that it's a little bit tilted forward like this, so all the oil drains from the front of the pan. Or else if it's tilted on the incline back like this, a lot of the old oil is going to sit inside the pan. Alright, let's move to the back now. Underneath the car, from the back, we are going to do the transmission first, and if we go past the monoleaf here and right past it on the transmission here, you'll see right on the other side of the cradle this little plug here. That's the drain for the transmission. So that just uses a 3/8 ratchet. We'll put that on there and drain the transmission. And on the opposite side, on the driver's side, if you look up right above the sticker, it'll tell you what to use, and right above there will be the plug to fill up our transmission. So we'll use the same 3/8 style plug. I'm actually going to have to use a little 3-inch W extension here to get to the actual drain, because the head of my ratchet hits that bolt right there. So just keep that in mind. Well, that came out a little faster than I thought it was going to come out. Go ahead and put the plug back in and tighten that up. Alright, now that we got the transmission drain, we're going to go ahead and drain the differential, and that uses a hex socket like this. This is a 10mm, and the drain plug is actually right here on the other side, in between the monoleaf and the subframe. Right up here, you'll see a plug for the differential there. So right there, that's it right there. Go ahead and put our socket on there, and we'll go ahead and just break it loose. And then we'll drain the differential, and we'll fill up the differential and the transmission together, and I'll show you what I'm going to be using for that. Alright, so while the differential is draining now, I'm going to go and show you guys what I'm going to use to fill up the fluids for the differential and the transmission. I actually purchased this fluid pump transfer pump here from Slippery Pete off Amazon. And it's supposed to be universal for differential fluids and oil fluids or any kind of ATFs. I'm going to run into a little problem though. Things are about to get real slippery. Well, for the differential, it's going to work fine because the cap is the same. But for the AMSOIL bottle here, it uses a bigger cap. So this is not going to be able to screw on here to keep things not messy. So I'm going to have to find a way to hold this secure in here while I pump the fluid out of the bottle into the transmission. Yeah, things are going to get messy. Alright, we got the drain plug out of the transmission on the side. And go ahead and open up our first quart here, and just pour this in here, stick it in. All right, see what this Slippery Pete can do. All right, now that we're done with the transmission, we can go ahead and move on over to the differential fluid, and I'm going to move this small pickup straw and put on the larger one. So it'll pick up all the fluid from the actual differential bottle here. So if you use the small one, it would pick all the way to the bottom. So we'll go ahead and put that one on. We're going to go ahead and take the cap off the differential bottle. This one should screw on. Yep, like it should. And now we can come over here to our differential here and take off our fill plug, which is basically right here where that cap is. I already got it broken loose. Just need to take it off the rest of the way. Just like the transmission, once you get fluid coming out of the fill plug, that means it's full. That's when you know that you can go ahead and put the cap back on right away. So go ahead and start filling it up and fill this up with differential. We'll go take it for a drive. Car is back on the ground. Just check the fluids, everything is good to go. I do want to mention again, this little fluid catcher pan is a lifesaver if you guys do a lot of your own work. I definitely recommend picking up one of these. I'll link this down below. This thing catches all the fluids, doesn't make any mess, and then you just go ahead and pour it into a 5-gallon bucket, take it to your local power store, and they will drain it for you. So it makes it really simple. I do want to, like I said, want to do the different seats. These seats are terrible. I don't think I want to stick with these seats for the autocross because these are not going to cut it. So I may just go with the Amazon seats for now. I do want to waste the brake pads because the brake pads are what's holding me up to change out the brake fluid. This stuff is disgusting and dark. It needs to be changed. Definitely needs to be done before the autocross comes. But it's going to be exciting to go and see what this car does, and then we start modifying from there. So don't want to miss out because you want to see what this car will do with coilovers and different modifications. I want to go take it back to the track and see how she reacts. So if you guys found the video helpful, please like, please subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.